Hi BookTube! Welcome back to the Babbling Bee. It has been a minute. It's been a lot of minutes, and I am hoping to tentatively come back to BookTube this year. I am planning on doing another video soon about where I've been, what I've been up to, why I had to take a break, and what my reading plans are for 2026. I have been loving watching so many reading plans, reading goals videos. I love December on BookTube. I love January and February and March on BookTube. It's just a great time for BookTube in general, kind of end of the year, beginning of the year content. And I just felt like I wanted to try to come back this year, even though I can't really plan a consistent filming or uploading schedule. And there's just limitations on my time and filming abilities right now, but I'm just here. And I just really got excited about middle grade March, and I wanted to hop on and talk to you about my March reading plans. So we're going to do that today, and I'm going to start by confessing to you the just ridiculous reading situation that I have myself in right now. I am once again reading too many things at once. I now feel overwhelmed by my currently reading stack, and it's just very silly. So I have a slightly different approach that I'm gonna do with middle grade March this year, in view of the fact that I'm already in the midst of all of these adult novels that I need to finish. And I have so much middle grade that I want to read. Like, all of this is all middle grade. And you know, there's just so many things that I want to read, but I really wanted to make middle grade March feel as fun as possible for myself this year and give myself a bit more time to just relax into all of these lovely middle grade reads. And I don't know about you guys, but I have just been feeling that middle grade March is particularly timely this year. It feels like so many of us have just been very exhausted and burdened by sad national news, distressing national news, and yeah, middle grade March always comes at a great time anyway. It's the end of winter. Everybody is looking eagerly forward to spring. And this year in particular, I was just thinking about it and I was like, middle grade March just feels like it is going to be this infusion of light and hope and joy, but also an acknowledgement of grief. Like, I think middle grade fiction is so respectful of the human condition and so wise beyond its years, or wise because of its years maybe. But in any case, I just was like, I need this year. I need middle grade March in a big way. But there is no way, because of my ridiculous reading situation right now, there's no way that I can get to everything that I would like to get to this month. So my plan is to do I'm going to participate in middle grade March, but I'm planning on doing, just personally for myself, kind of more of a middle grade spring situation where I just spread out this pile of possibilities for middle grade March over the course of March, April, and May. And I feel good about that. I feel like it's going to give me more time to just be able to get to more of the middle grade books that I want to read. And because I am anticipating an increase of stress in my schedule and things I have to do over the next few months, I just feel like having comforting, lovely middle grade fiction in my life will just bolster my spirit, and it will meet me in my weariness and stress and make me feel better. So that's the plan, is to have kind of a middle grade spring. That's what I'm doing for myself. But also just, I will be participating in middle grade March, and I will put middle grade March info in the description box down below if you're new to this readathon and you want more information about the hosts and the prompts, etc. I am not doing the prompts. I usually don't. I kind of just vibe with middle grade March. And because I have so much middle grade, or at least what feels like a lot of middle grade to me on my TBR, I just want to prioritize the books that I already have. So I haven't bought very many things for this. I bought a couple things. That was kind of just incidental. But anyways, I have a library book. I have 2 library books, actually. I'm still waiting on one of them. And let me actually tell you about that one first. Am I going to do that? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you about what I'm currently reading. And then I'll tell you about that library book that I'm really excited about for middle grade March. And all my other middle grade March plans. So I have this notebook here with all of my currently reading books on it. So I'm just going to go through this with you so you can see how I have gotten myself into this situation. I actually wrote "Why am I like this?" on this notebook because I was looking at it all and I was just like, Taylor, what have you done? So, audiobooks right now. Even though last year was a big Jane Austen year around the world, I actually did not read very much Jane Austen last year, and I really wanted to remedy that this year, so I'm listening to Persuasion, and yeah, that's happening at the moment, having a lovely time. So this is all my audiobooks of the moment. I'm listening to The Shell Seekers by Rosamund Pilcher, which I'll talk to you about in a second. I am about 80% of the way through the audiobook of Alanna, the first adventure by Tamora Pierce, which I've been reading with one of my dear friends, because she just loves Tamora Pierce, and has read, all of the Tamora Pierce books ever, and I did not read Tamora Pierce as a child, and I was just feeling like I really missed out on some fantasy that I probably really would have loved and connected with as a kid, and I just wanted that vibe back in my life. So I have really been enjoying the audiobook of this, and I'll be discussing that with my friend when I finish it, which will hopefully be this upcoming week. So that's one of my current reads, but I'm primarily doing the audiobook. Ask of Old Paths by Grace Hammond. Oh, I have the library book of that, but I forgot to bring it in here. That is a nonfiction that I got from the library. I really want to own it. I hate having nonfiction like that from the library because I just want to highlight. I just want to write in it and highlight stuff, and you can't do that with a library book. But the hardback is expensive right now, and I'm just trying to wait for it to eventually come out in paperback before I purchase it. I think I'm listening to that audiobook on Hoopla, and I'm actually really enjoying the audiobook form for that. It kind of feels like listening to a podcast about vices and virtues, and it's really interesting, and yeah, I'm having a good time with that. But that's one of my audiobooks at the moment. And then physical books. So I am kind of going back and forth listening to The Shell Seekers and then also reading this lovely, wonderful floppy paperback that I got for myself recently. Now, I have a very fraught history with Rosamund Pilcher thus far in my life, and I realized recently why I think I struggle with her. I've started September and got stuck. I've started the Shell Seekers within the last couple of years and got stuck. I was not successful in reading Coming Home, but I love Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher so much. That has been one of my favorite books. Like, it's now a favorite book of all time, and I just read it within the last couple of years. And I think what I struggle with her is this going back and forth between multiple characters, like 5 or 6 characters. I just really struggle with that in books in general. I find it very jarring. I find it very difficult. Obviously, I can do it if it's like a book that I'm reading for academic purposes or something. But just in my personal reading life, I struggle with that. I feel like I have to get taken out of the story a little bit in order to remember how to go back and forth between everyone. It's hard for me if I really don't like some of the characters and I like certain ones and I just want to stay with them, but I'm being forced to go hang out in the brains of these other people that I don't like. So I think that's been a hang up for me with Rosamund Pilcher thus far. But I have experienced a kind of bookish serendipity moment with the Shell Seekers, and this happens to me sometimes in my life where a book just comes up again and again on my social media, in conversation, on BookTube, and then like something will happen in my life that makes me think, I really need to read that right now. And that has kind of happened with the Shell Seekers. I heard Miranda Mills talk about this recently, and I've known for years that she loves this book, but she just talked about it in such a way that made me realize that there are, to me anyway, seemingly unlikable characters in this at the beginning that we spend time with. But Penelope Keeling is kind of at the heart of this book. And Miranda's perspective on that just changed my perspective on it and made me feel like I just need to push through the initial chapters of this and get to the heart of it, and I think I'll have a good time. And I've been thinking about spring. I've been thinking about snowdrops. I saw some snowdrops at the park the other day, and wouldn't you know, this book begins in February and snowdrops are mentioned in the first few pages. So I took that as a sign. And I love the cozy interiors of Rosamund Pilcher, the clothing, the wonderful lush portrayals of home and what home means and what it provides to people's weary souls, and food and just landscape, all of the wonderful things. And I really want to be able to find that Rosamund Pilcher joy in this book. I feel like nothing is going to top Winter Solstice for me, but I am really enjoying this so far. And the Shell Seekers, if you're not familiar with it, tells the story of a family and kind of how they're all connected by this painting, which is called The Shell Seekers. And Penelope Keeling, who is like, I've been led to believe, the heart of the book. It's about her and it's about her children, and she's an older lady. Her children are all grown up, and she's just had a health issue that made her go into hospital, and she's come out of hospital and she's kind of getting back into the swing of her life. And this painting, The Shell Seekers, was painted by her father, and it's now like all of his work is kind of starting to come back into fashion, and her children seem to have vested interest in wanting these paintings that are in the family to be sold for money, and I think she doesn't want to do that. But it's a wonderful beginning. She comes out of the hospital and goes back to her home, which is called Podmore's Thatch, and she's just walking around her house looking at everything and feeling the just pure relief and rest of being at home. And I read the first few pages of this in a bookstore cafe recently, and it was just a wonderful, peaceful, lovely time. So, feeling good about this. Hopefully I continue to have a good time with that. Okay, other things I'm currently reading. The Correspondent. Guys, this is not going to be pretty. Get ready for how janky this book looks. Please don't be horrified. I'm sorry. I'll explain in just a second. This is my copy of The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. A dog got to this book and chewed the bottom of it. And, you know, this just happens with young dogs. Sometimes you leave something out and you think it's gonna be fine, and then it's not fine. So the cover, like the dust cover, got all torn, and I ended up just like taping it. I cut this part of it out and taped it to the front of the hardback, and now it just looks really sad and silly, but we press on. My husband got this for me for Christmas, and I was really excited about it. And then I just started reading other things and got behind, and I haven't touched this in like a month. So there we go. Everybody has been talking about The Correspondent, and I love epistolary novels. I feel hopeful that I will like this. It seems that the main character is complicated, so we'll see how I do with that. But I'm enjoying it. I'm just, like I said, haven't picked it up. Started too many things at once. Also, currently reading Bookish by Lucy Mangan. Now, a lot of people who were excited about this were excited about it because they read her previous book, Bookworm, which I will admit I did not finish. I really hit a rut with that book where I was just feeling very disconnected from a lot of the books that she was talking about from her childhood. And so it started to feel more like me reading a textbook in some ways, which is not because of her. Like, her tone is very warm and friendly and funny. I just wasn't connecting with it. It's still languishing in my Kindle library. But I was just really excited about this anyway, and my husband and I recently went on a little bookstore hunting trip, and I found it, and I was excited about it, so I got it. So, yeah, this is nonfiction, like reading memoir, and I will be continuing with that in March. A library book that I haven't started yet, but I got recently at the recommendation of one of my coworkers is Himself by Jess Kidd. And this says, abandoned on the steps of an orphanage as an infant, Mahoney always assumed that his mother had simply given him up. But when he discovers that foul play may have led to her disappearance, he decides to return to the rural Irish village where he was born to learn what really happened all those years ago. And it goes on from there. So, Irish readathon, maybe? There's so many readathons going on in March, and I really would like to get to this one. I'm not really actively trying to participate in the Irish readathon, because I'm mostly focusing on middle grade March. But I want to read several books by Jess Kidd. This is kind of in the sort of darkly whimsical literary fiction wheelhouse that I sometimes enjoy. I don't read a ton of literary fiction, especially anymore, since I am no longer in college or grad school. I'm just trying to have fun at this point in my reading life. But I do enjoy some more literary fiction. And I think I've just heard really good things about Things in Jars, and at least one other Jess Kidd book, the name of which I can't think of right now. But I'm hoping to get to this in March as well. And then this is in my currently reading stack, even though I haven't picked it up in over a month, and it's The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. I was so pumped about this. I just wanted to read this and nothing else, and then I started reading other things anyway, and here we are. This takes place in the spring of 1708. The Jacobite rebellion going on in Scotland. And then it's about a writer who's wanting to write about that period in Scottish history, and she finds a place to stay near Slane's castle, and she's like writing a book that's set in this time period. And this is I believe it's still going to be a time slip romance like most of Susanna Kearsley's novels. I've read several of her other books and really enjoyed them. I love the atmosphere and the settings. The romance feels very like seamless to me in these books. Like I tend to be equally invested in everything else that's going on around the romance, and it's not just about the romance, which I enjoy. So like I said, I'm just super in the mood for this right now. Scotland vibes, but I just got so distracted by all of these other books. So hopefully I will return to the Wintersea in March, and then I really would like to get to Son of the Shadows by Juliet Marillier as soon as I possibly can. I just yeah, I had every intention of starting this in February, and then that just did not happen. So I might start this in March. Maybe I'll put it off until April just to kind of take the pressure off, but I really want to get to this soon. My husband very kindly got me this whole set, like Daughter of the Forest, this one, and then I think Child of the Prophecy is next. Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier is one of my favorite books ever. I'm so glad that I read it at the recommendation of Kate Howe, and then the recommendation of my mom, actually, because I made my mom read it first. I was like, you'll like this book, and she was looking for a fantasy read, and I was like, I've heard this is really good, you should read it. And she started reading Daughter of the Forest, and she said, Taylor, you're going to love this book so much. It's like listening to Enya. I was like, yes! And it was. It's so beautiful. Ancient Ireland fantasy. The main character is a healer, like an herbalist. It has everything. It has everything that I want. Slow burn romance that is very quiet. And it's just, I love Daughter of the Forest so much. So I really want to get to Son of the Shadows, which is the sequel. I don't have plans to read the entire Seven Waters series. I'm really not good with long series, and I just want to get to these first three, which I feel like are the main ones. But yeah, this is just on my radar for like sometime soon if I can get to it. And then finally, for things I'm currently reading, I'm looking at my notes. I am reading The House That Is Our Own by O. Douglas on my Kindle. It's very slow going, but I'm enjoying it. It's just slow. And then I also got Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim to read on my Kindle before I go to sleep, because I am finding that I cannot read anything that is new to me before I go to sleep. That's just not working for my brain right now. I don't want to deal with any new problems or situations or characters when I'm really tired and about to go to bed. So I got Enchanted April because I love it so much. It's like a comfort read for me. It's one of my favorite books, and it is so perfect for spring. If you're wishing for spring and dreaming of spring and you need an infusion of that in your life right now, go read Enchanted April. But I got that on Kindle, so that's happening as well. And then in the physical reading department, I am a good way through The Folk Keeper by Franny Billingsley, and I'm really hoping that I will finish this maybe this weekend, maybe before Middle Grade March begins. This tells the story of Corinna, who is called a folk keeper, i.e. a keeper of the fairy folk. And she basically keeps them from harming the citizens of this world. She starts out in one town as a folk keeper there, and then she gets a position at Marlborough Park, which is a seaside manor, and it's a much more like illustrious position for her as a folk keeper. But this is there's kind of a mystery to it. It's like, what's going on at the manor? There are secrets here. And then we're getting to know Corinna, who is an orphan, and because she has had a really hard life, she has become sort of like hardened and very cynical, and she's all about survival. And this is, I would say, a darker middle grade vibe. Like, it's kind of taking that perspective on the folk, the fae, that is, you know, the very old perspective, that they are malicious and sinister and hungry and wild and evil, really. So she has a hard job, and the whole tone of this is just like kind of darker, which I'm not enjoying. It's just not like the infusion of hopeful beauty and loveliness that I'm excited about in other middle grade March reading. And yeah, it's like a dark folktale, fairy tale kind of vibe. I do think I'm assuming there will be some like redemption for her. But I don't know. I am really enjoying that this is split up. I love anything that's split into seasons or separated by like holidays or holy days or the liturgical calendar, the pagan calendar, really any of that. Just seasonal time, seasonal separation of time is just one of my favorite things in books, and this is like that. It begins, the first chapter is from Candlemas to the Feast of Saint Lancet. I don't know who Saint Lancet is. I don't know if that's a real saint or a made-up saint. And then it just goes from there, like following these holy days and feast days throughout the year. So I am enjoying this. I'm hoping I can finish it before middle grade March, but we will see. I can't believe this is 28 minutes long, so I think what I'm actually going to do is do 2 videos, and I will come back here in just a moment and tell you about what I'm hoping to read for middle grade March specifically. It just took a lot longer than I thought to tell you about everything I'm currently reading. So I will be back with another video about my plans for middle grade March, which are right here next to me, and I'm gonna try to film that right now. So I will see you in the next video to talk more about middle grade March. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!